There's a big tanky boy by the fireplace glow, with a laugh like thunder and a voice deep and low. He's got stories carved in the lines on his face, from the mountains he's climbed to each wild distant place. And his friends gather round as the embers burn bright, the shadows all dancing in the soft golden light. They know when he starts they'll be here for a while, 'cause his tales always end with a roar and a smile. Oh, tanky boy, spin your stories tonight. Let the fire spark the memories shining so bright. We're together, we're laughing, everything feels right. Living our life in the glow of the firelight. He tells of battles fought with nothing but will, of rolling like boulders down cold stony hills, of friends he once carried when the storms rolled in fast, and how every tough moment became a tale to last. Now the night air is warm with the sound of their cheer, every voice lifted up, every heart gathered near. In the circle of warmth all the worries feel small. This tanky boy's stories are bonding them all. Oh, tanky boy, spin your stories tonight. Let the fire spark the memories shining so bright. We're together, we're laughing, everything feels right. Living our life in the glow of the firelight. And the stars overhead seem to wink at the crowd, as the tanky boy boasts proud and humble and loud. They clap and they tease him, but they love every word. His tales are the heartbeat of nights like these shared. Oh, tanky boy, keep your stories alive, 'cause they carry us through and they help.
Well, greetings, and where are you going? Yes, that way, that way. Hold on, you're almost there. Come on, you can do it. Let's see if this little guy can figure out where he's going. No, not that way. No, not that way either. Look up, dum-dum. Hey, up here, yes. Get your butt up here. Come on. Are you telling me that's all you can do right now? Oh, for shame, little robot. For shame. Well, I almost had the dolly system work, but apparently, like most things, it can't quite get there on its own. But I welcome you. I welcome you all. It is I, Exelios, here for some more stories and tales. But where exactly am I? Well, to be truthful, my main purpose in life, besides giving stories to those who need them, is occasionally going out into the universe and fighting items of need and importance to bring back to a certain group. Well, I cannot describe or tell who they are. Myself and a few others will go out find these items for them and return them to where they must be. Well, basically consider me like the ultimate armor-plated gopher. I go there, I get this, I get the hell out. Sometimes I get shot in my ass, but never fail. I will return back with the items required. Apparently, the little bean wanted to come in and hear the stories. Now, while I'm up here, this scaffolding does not look quite stable. So, how about I'll meet you downstairs at one of the lower levels. Now, let us see if little robot can now understand what I'm saying. Little guy, go down, hide in one area. To just be safe, I'll be down in a moment. When I am, we will ready to tell the tales and to do everything. Can you do that? Let us hope this little robot, this automata I was given, is smarter than their peers. Okay, little one, go on down. No, yes. Go down. Okay, keep going. Hold. Turn to your right. Yes, inside there. That looks quite comfy. Don't worry, I'll be right down. All right, little one, I will be down in just a moment. All right, let's see if I can get my big armored butt down. But, wait a second. That doesn't feel exactly... Oh, no! Ow! Someone call an ambulance. I've fallen on my keys. Don't worry, I'll be back up on my feet momentarily. Oh. Ouch. Oh. Note to self. Tanky boy fly, tanky boy fall. Tanky boy take a big tumble on his ass. Oh. Oh. Let us be certain. Falling hurts like hell. What? Oh, looks like we have new beans in town. Hello, Kami. Hello, Sabila. And hello, Amber Voxlotl. If you were unveiled, hopefully you didn't see me kind of fall down and land on my big armored ass. But, unfortunately, that may have been the case. Alright, little robot, line up there. Oops. You're supposed to walk with me, little bun. Alright, there we are. Normally, we bounce a campfire to relax, to tell tales, and to make the stories wonderful tonight. Oh, you saw me take a mighty fall. Don't tell Dragoness, okay? If she sees that, she'll be worried, or she will start laughing and fall. Nothing else would be worse, especially if she remembers the old saying, oh, I still had the wind knocked out of me. The old saying from that Rudolph, Bumbles. They're big and scary, but they bounce. But, among other things, here I am. Oops. Apparently when I fall, I got myself crooked. But, like always, welcome to CampFire Tails. I Emexelios. So, while we are here and looking for many things, let us see if we can find a nice little area in here that we can set up a campfire and tell us some stories. As for where I am, out there in the universe there are many outposts and places that were meant to help others in times of need. And this place is one of them. This place was once quite bustling with many beings and many individuals, all looking to have fun and laugh, and to tell a story or two with each other. Now it sits somewhat abandoned except for the occasional visitor, or an armor-plated goofball that fall on his ass. So, this looks well enough. It's far enough off the ground. It's close enough to the floor. If I fall again, it won't hurt. All right. Let us see if I can still do some of the magic. No more falling, please. Okay. Meeting Mr. Kitty Meow Meow Ow. But don't worry, Kami. I won't fall. I won't make a dent in the ground. And there won't be a giant crater worth the size of armor-plated butt cheeks. But we can always try. But before I forget, I need to make sure I do something first. Ha! I managed to do it right. And in about 4 more minutes, I'll do the same for Amble Fractolato. But I need to make a quick campfire. Let us see if I still have the magics in me. All right. Nothing up this sleeve, nothing up that. But with a little bit of magic and ye old wand. Wait, where'd it go? I will make a little campfire. Now, what was the spell? Havada, no, that's for a guacamole dip. Hibbity jibbity, let's kick some shitty. Let me see here. You might want to back up. This might hurt a little. Something to deal with fire. Oh, hell with it. I'm just gonna wing it and shoot it out my ass. Alright, a little bit of magic and a little bit of silliness. Hemende, what all I veer. Let me shoot some fire. Out my rear. Ta-da! All right. Ooh. Unfortunately, my job has given me the case of the coffees. Not very fun, but once again. Well, now that I have a fire, and you are all here, and if the little robot that is helping me do the transcription would come a little closer. There. There you are. Now you are ready for some CampFire Tails. We have the fire, I have a marshmallow, and we are ready to go. So, for all out there who are watching and listening, welcome, and I hope your day has been well. Kami, Sib, Amber, I hope your day is well. And I know Amber is currently around in this world somewhere, although I have no idea. She's probably off finding a pinball machine. Although if she has found one, let me know what it is. I'm a big fan. All right. As you know, tomorrow is the day of giving. The day we give thanks for all the stuff we have. whether it be people in our lives, achievements we have accomplished, or that we have grown and changed in the days past and become something better than we were last time. Many people forget today is not a day to eat and grow fat and pass out on the couch with stuffing and yams on your face. And occasionally the family dog tugging your beard because the little bastard doesn't know how to take it off. But with that being said, what are you thankful for most this time of year? What are you happy for? Are you happy that you have loved ones next to you this time of year? Are you happy that your trail and stories have continued? You have learned to become something better than you were before. Or are you grateful to have friends and wonderment still in part of your life? So, with that being said, let me pull out my list. And I hope I have not... I have put it on the wrong side. I now have the first story. Why are you misbehaving, Mr. OBS? Stop it. All right, the first story of the night is a little bit of a spooky one because it is cold outside and the winds are blowing quite hard. They are simply called the Whispering Woods. In a land far off to the east, in the old country, where mystery and intrigue are still one and the same, there is an old forest, older than the hills, older than time itself at times, it would seem. There are places in it that even brave men would not cross. And those who go into it, if they shy from the paths, within moments the light seems to fade, and the sound around them turns from normal to almost muted. And for those who are very unlucky, they will begin to hear a whispering of voices from old times, of a language long since dead, and voices had not been seen since the early dawn of time. And most of all, if you're out there long enough, you'll begin to see things moving as well. At first shadows, then little sprites of light, and things you'd never thought you would see in life. These woods are old for a reason. Just like the magic I was able to do to make the campfire appear. These places run rich with it. They run rich with the magic of the old ways. And I don't mean going Alakazam and Avada Kavada. No. The magic that runs in these woods runs deep into the roots of the trees, the soil, the rocks, to the burbling of the brook, to the blowing of the winds. A magic that no man could ever master. A magic that no one would dare play with. And if on these rare occasions you do happen to be in one of these old woods, smart enough to stay on the trail, and find yourself in one of the few safe places you can go to be at and to be safe and camp, You will hear many whispers at night. As long as you keep your fire nice and bright, yourself tucked in just tight. And whatever you do, you don't go chasing the lights at night. You'll be just fine. Even when you finally come out of the woods and the voices and whisperings subsides, you'll still feel something on the back of your neck, as if an old hand came out of the woods to either let you know you came close to a magic that you had never heard of, or an old voice to tell you you should be very careful for one who wanders so foolishly. These woods have magic. They have voices of their own. The one known as the Black Forest in Germany is the oldest we know of. And worst of all, many other out there. All right, now with a little bit of a warm-up and a little bit of fun. That may not have been a very long story, but it is a good one. Enough to get the blood pumping, the voice warmed up, and enough time for that blasted counter to give me a chance to do this. There. Amber has her shout out, and so does Kami. If any other friends manage to toddle on and toddle in, I'll be surprised. Of course, there's a few back at the cafe that I'm a little bit worried about. A few at the valley I wished would come in and say hello. And a few good friends from Cookie Tin Productions I wish would join me here tonight. Well, no one said every story would be a good one, and every story would be crazy. But a story is a story, but still. And if you don't mind, I'm currently trying to grab a cough drop because my throat hurts. Where I work is quite dry, and what is in the air is quite nasty. And since I'm still new to streaming, I found out a few lozenges help the voice soften. And it doesn't make me cough every 5 seconds when I was trying to do something. Although I do apologize that at the beginning. So, shall we continue? Shall we wait? So see who is here. I know Amber is here somewhere, wherever that may be. Let us see. I will send a little ping to a baby. I'm trying to make this work, and there we go. There, a few beans hopefully would come to the stories. Although I do hope they remember the rule. Try to behave. Do not do not speak while the stories are going. And if you need to talk, use the text function. It helps me keep track of everything. It helps me be able to concentrate on you, the viewer, but also allows me to tell me what is going on. And yes, Amber, wherever you are in this world, if you are somewhere down here by the bottom, you may find me by one of the main pillars. Oh, never mind, I see you. You are hiding in the rafters. You sneaky bean. Apparently, Amber is not just a whispering fox spirit. She's part cat. She's like, meow, meow, and hides up in the rafters. But, more than that, it is time for our second story. And this one is a simple tale. A tale of the winter. A tale for those who ever had to travel out during the day when the winds were high and the ice was cold. This one is simply called If I Could Read This. The Savage Finns. Far to the north, when the realms of ice and snow, far to the north, where days would last for months, and night would be rarely seen. The winds there are very sharp and can cut a man in two. A wind that can blow so hard that it can drive the deepest of cold into the soul of your bones. These are the winds we all must be careful of. All of the winds we must be wary of. 'Cause these winds almost act as if they are alive. They know where you are and how to hit you in such a way that make you bundle up even worse. Even me, a salamander in armor. Even I try to stay away from these places. I am thought of fire and will, of steel and determination. But I hate the ice and cold. None of that silliness, none of that at all. I really don't much care for the snow and ice. When you've had been outside in the coldest of winter for longer than you should, from when you wake up to the time you go to bed, in the center of your core is cold. That is when you learn to hate it. And in these places where the winds blow even worse, that is even worse for others who must live in it. Now, why are these winds so savage? Why are they so mean? No one can truly know. But I like to believe it up there. The spirits of old still roam. Up there the spirits are not tamed or pushed away by the men in the finacturing and meaninglessness of a man. There, the energies of the old can still run wild. There, nothing can be seen. And only a very few can survive in a place like that. So, while many of us try and try must to survive, be careful, you may find out. It is not the beast, nor the weather you must fear. It is a wind that carries a teeth like ice, and a wrath like no creature ever born of this earth. Now, why have we managed to tell only 2 short stories tonight? The truth is, I've been up for a very long time, and my knees are quite tired. Oh. And most importantly, I done goofed and forgot to write down my stories for tonight. With everything going on tomorrow, I was quite busy. I even rose 2 hours earlier than I was supposed to. Raised myself 2 hours sooner than I should have. And you believe me, My armored keister is tired. But I still must go on. I still must try to give a story to everyone tonight. To give a story to those who wish to hear them. A story to give you the dreams you wish. Because without stories, we will lose our dreams. And without our dreams, what are we? So, well, I am currently sitting back on a nice comfy chair, and my armored butt is nice and comfortable. And I have marshmallow. Let us try to tell a third tale. And hopefully something decent. As we like to call it, I shot through the first bit too fast, and now I have to make up the rest as I go. But I do know of a good story. It is an old one. It was from when even I was young. I do not know 100% if this is true or false. I do not know if it was a thing of fiction or if it was truly something that happened in the world. The year was 1944. During one of the greatest wars in the world, the worst ones depending on who you are. This was a tale of a young group of men aboard a B-29 flying fortress. The plane was called Miss Mabel. She was a beautiful plane, and the men cared for her with great care and diligence, because they knew if Miss Mabel were able to get them home, then anything was possible. And sure enough, every time they took to the air, they went out. Sure. What was that, Foxo? Did you whispering a fox spirit? No, I do not believe I did whispering a fox spirit. But I did whispering woods. A little different. But let me continue the story. Each time they went out, sure the plane took many hits. Sure she was patched up and repaired for the next. One by one, each time the plane would go out, many of the men wondered, would this be the day they did not come home? Longer they went, farther they flew. The number of missions completed began to rack up and be tallied. And soon each man wondered if... Well, I am a little bit annoyed. One moment. My computer does not like this. Do-da, what is going on today? What are you doing, my friend? Well, that is still working. I apparently need to open another window. Ah, there we are. I'm beginning to wonder if OBS stands for old bullshit software. Oh well, onward we go. Now, As each of the missions they completed, the tally continued to rise and rise. Back then, each pilot and each crew were expected to complete 30 missions. 30 missions, and then you could go home. And for the first time, the crew of Miss Mabel was growing closer to that number. Until the day when their final mission had come. And the captain, knowing this being their final mission, tried very hard to get them the nose anchor for the run. The pocket. And why would you ask this? Because any of the planes at the front of the formation were the quickest ones in, who could drop their bombs and get out quick as lightning. But the ones at the rear of the formation, they were not always so lucky. They had to charge into hell and follow their friends in. When everyone is alert, when all of the guns are pointed at them. Much to the chagrin of the captain of Miss Mabel. The commander looked at him, looked at his crew, and simply said, Miss Mabel, you are the drag line for this. And if you do not know what that means, it means they are the one who comes in last. You are the last plane, the final hurrah, the one who gets to drop thunder last and fly away. Most planes who are given this position rarely make it home. The further you are from the front of the pack, the closer you are to the enemy's bullet. But they could not argue with the colonel. They could not argue with those who gave them their position. And so, the captain of Miss Mabel saluted and knew his men would be furious. 29 missions down. 29 missions never being in this situation. And now, worse than anything else, they were placed to run the pocket. They were one to run the drag line at the back of the formation, the plane that would be driving itself right into the jaws of hell itself. And they knew this was their pact. And each of the members of the crew knew that if they were to survive this, it would be their trip home. And here's a funny thing about faith among men who are facing death. If they believe in something strong enough, miraculous events soon take place. And so, Miss Mabel took her position as a drag line for this assault. 20 B-29s lining up, readying to go. These flying fortresses, these creatures of the sky with teeth to drop fire on those who deserved it. And then, one by one, the waves sent out. 3, 4, 4, 5, as planes taking off. And finally, Miss Mabel flew into the air. She took her position at the rear of the formation, and they flew the long way to the objective. It was only now that her crew feared everything. They made sure everyone was wearing their flak jackets. They made sure each gun was ready to fire. The one that was also the most fearful was the youngest. He was the smallest on the crew. He is the one that was stuck in something called a belly gun. A little bubble that would drop down in the bottom of the plane and spin around like allowing the plane to protect its vulnerable belly from any enemy that would try to fly up from underneath and shoot. He was also a bit of an amateur artist, and he would always draw cartoons for his fellow flight crew. Something to make them laugh, something to make them cheer. And so, as he was drawing, he drew a little cartoon picture of Miss Mabel. The plane with a smile and wink in her eye. Heard a pair of long legs sticking out at the bottom of the plane as she glided across the sky, as if to say, well, I'm high-kicking myself all the way to the finish line. Da, 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 da. And then, as they were all just getting ready to go, being ready to the fight was soon to become them, the first sounds of explosions at the front of the formation were heard. The enemy flak had come. While they were high enough above where they were flying, the little bursts of explosions underneath them could be seen. Sudden appearances of like little bitty angry rain clouds, looking to ruin their day. And soon they heard the call from the lead plane. Objective reached. Soon to begin bombing run on Factory Bravo 1. The formation began to rise and bank. The mass of planes moving like a giant organism, a giant predator bird in the sky, readying to attack the small mouse on the ground. And soon, wave after wave of plane going in, following the lead aircraft. It dipped and dove and flipped around, trying to avoid enemy fire, until finally the captain in the plane yelled, "Releasing payload!" And then one after other, each wave dropping their bombs. As soon as the last one went out, their plane shot into the air, climbing as fast as they could. The higher they flew, the faster they were out of the way of danger of the flak. And the higher they flew, the faster they were away from danger. And so, Miss Mabel flew there, waiting to be the last plane to make her bombing run. When it was her turn, she banked slightly and dove in deep, heading right for the objective, lining itself up, taking hit after hit from the flak, but still going forward. Taking a direct hit to engine number 4, part of it being completely blown apart. Flying right into hell itself, until the bomber could see the target and release the bombs. Every last one of them landed right on that factory and destroyed it, bringing it to the ground. The plane, already full of holes, began to fly higher and higher, getting itself out of there, even though she was down to 3 engines. Banking hard to go home and rejoin the group. thinking everything was now safe. You forget, if one side has bombers, the other has ways of stopping them. And so, on the horizon, little specks like birds begin to appear. 10, 12, 20, an entire squadron of enemy aircraft flying right at the formation. They dipped high, shot low, and came at the enemy, the planes, the formation of bombers without any regard for self-preservation, cutting through the mass, making sure they knew, no matter what, if one of them died, one of the planes, one of the bombers would come with it. And after wave, each plane opening its gun, shooting into the air, trying to take down as many of these little bastards as possible. And yes, I say little bastards because when a plane half the size, if not barely a speck compared to yours, is able to flip around and keep pestering you, what else would you call it? And so, soon a few of the planes began to fall from the sky. Many of the bombers being hit by enemy fire and succumbing to the damage. Having almost one plane, having its almost entire cockpit sheared off from an explosion. It blissfully flew for a few more seconds, as if the plane was still alive. It wanted to fly more, but then it rolled over once and went to the earth, crashing into the ground. Only but maybe a handful of parachutes being seen as the few surviving crew bailed. Now, remember the smallest member of Miss Mabel's crew? The one in the belly? You see, it takes time for a man to get into one of those devices. And yes, it takes time to pull him out. Sadly, not many belly gunners were able to free themselves from the plane before it met its end. Or worse, the one thing all belly gunners feared: if their plane would ever have to make an emergency landing and their pod was not retracted back. So, as each of the planes, each of the B-29s would shoot out many more of the enemy aircraft, several of them turned their attention to Miss Mabel. They saw her leaving a giant trail of black smoke from the one destroyed engine, and soon they turned its attention to them. They came in waves, strafing her body with fire, trying to get at her crew. The two mid-gunners trying desperately with their 50 calibers to destroy these little bastards. The tail gunner shooting as much as he could. The nose gunner desperately trying to strafe, and the little belly gunner spinning around so furiously trying to find new targets to quickly pop and take out of the sky. Slowly but surely, one by one, the enemy aircraft began to leave. And surely, the crew began to wonder, are we truly able to make it home? Until they saw one last speck coming right at them. It opened up with its guns, trying desperately to shoot at Miss Mabel. The aircraft had taken many hits, spewing black smoke and fire. The side gunners turned their weapons, then fired at it. The little man in the belly turned its guns and began to shoot at it as well, sending wave after wave of lead and fire at it, tearing this plane apart as it came closer and closer, until a giant fireball appeared. And the plane was engulfed in hell itself. The mid-gunner took a deep breath as if to say it was over, until his eyes grew wide, his mouth fell open, and his scream went silent. The plane had been engulfed into flame, and it was being destroyed as it spoke. But it still was carrying forward, forcing its will to move. Him going back on the guns and firing more and more. The smallest member of the crew once again racking both actions of his twin 50 cals, firing again, pressing so hard on the little buttons that his fingers ached, sending wave of lead going tearing this flaming monstrosity to hell until it exploded no more than a few yards from the plane, showering Miss Mabel with a giant barrage of shrapnel. A giant impact on her side caused the whole plane to kink and tilt. The entire interior of the plane began to burst with flame. The crew quickly ran around, extinguishing as much as they could. They found the nose end of that aircraft sticking into Miss Mabel like a giant stinger. At first they thought they were lucky, until they realized where this aircraft had struck. It had damaged the retraction hydraulics and motor for the belly gun, the little ball that their smallest friend was in. And as he began to write and draw, since his communication device had been damaged, he was passing up pictures to his friends. Here is a picture of Miss Mabel with the same one he'd drawn before. Now she looked like she had a black eye. One of her pretty legs was in a cast. And the picture of a crushed ball on her belly. You see, from his position, he had a very good view. He could see the starboard landing gear was okay and intact. The port, it was shredded and in pieces. The one leg, almost as if the bottom had been completely sheared off by an enemy fire. He knew if Miss Mabel were to land, she would be doing so with only 2 wheels. And the moment that little leg nub hit, it would dig into the ground, forcing her to land on her belly. A belly that now carried the bump of a gunner's bubble. And on the flight home, each of the men trying to figure out how they could potentially save their friend. They could potentially pull him out of the fire. Nothing. The captain radioing back to base about what was going on. How could they possibly be able to save their friend without the cost of his life? The colonel at the base, almost, with a heart heavier than lead, knew there was only one way. Miss Mabel would have to land and only have 7 of her crew walk away. The two pilots, the radio man, the bomber, the nose gunner, the rear gunner, and the two belly gunners. The little one in the ball was to be sacrificed because there was no way to save him. The captain was furious. He needed more time, so he reduced power to hopefully get them home. As they were going, something unfortunate happened. Engine number 2 on the ports on the starboard side began to make an abnormal sound and completely gave out. As they looked out the window to see after the smoke had cleared, a good chunk of that engine was in pieces. She had held together long enough as she could, but the enemy fire had shredded that gigantic engine that carried them, and she was down to 2. The captain knew under emergencies, a B-29 could technically land with but one engine, but only under the best circumstances. If it would be down to make an emergency landing on only one engine, there'd be no way to save his friend, the belly. And more the crew trying desperately to figure out how. One of the little messages they got from the friend, the belly gun, simply pointed out a picture of Miss Mabel flopping on her belly and skating across the ground. Her once big, full smile gone. These happy eyes, no more. Instead, it was she had an expression of a giant, sad frown. Her eyes were no longer bright and cheerful. They were filled with tears, as if she knew she was crushing one of her babies. They all believed that this plane, yes, Miss Mabel, would always look after her. They looked after her, and she would take care of her boys. No matter where what happened, if you made sure the plane was taken care of, she would bring you home every time. If you didn't take care of her, what would the plane do then? It wouldn't be inclined to pull you back from hell itself. The plane would just roll over and die on you. And then, where would you be? So, as they were nearing the airfield, their friend in the belly gun, drawing a simple picture once again, his mind racing with silly ideas, silly pictures. He began to draw Miss Mabel again, with one wheel normal and the other wheel the stump. But his hand kept tracing over the picture over and over and over again, until finally he started drawing a new wheel for that one leg that had been gone. And there was one engine that had been shot to pieces and then was destroyed. It was being rebuilt again, but now bits and pieces of Miss Mabel looked more cartoony and silly as he kept focusing on the drawing itself. He kept drawing over and over again, retracing all as a picture, his eyes glazing somewhat over, and he became focused. As if possessed by some sort of demon or monster, he did not know what was going on. He did not know what could possibly be. All he knew was he had to keep drawing. He knew if he could, and if he did, something miraculous would happen. And his crew began to try to get him to talk, trying to get him to speak up and see what was wrong. But all he said, "She will land, she will land," She won't want to kill her boys. She will keep us safe. And they'd feared the man, their little friend, had lost his mind. He had finally accepted the fact that he was not going home today. He was in there drawing furiously, and they kept trying to get his attention. And then the captain could feel Miss Mabel lurching side to side. One of her engines finally beginning to give out. And then something happened. Remember when I said, if you believed in something so fiercely that it could cause a miracle or something to happen? Well, in this time, something did. The captain, as he was trying to steer the plane, keeping it on course, he looked down at the dials, seeing the oil pressure on number 3 beginning to die, the engine sputtering and sputtering and sputtering, until he felt himself get pulled back into his seat. He looked down at the gauges. Down at cartoon gauges. He looked to his co-pilot, and his co-pilot stared at him for a moment. Eyes fixed on the wing, jaw on his chest, agape with a full look of "Durr?" He looked out the window and he saw engine 3 and 4 were running. Engine 3 was shiny and as if it was colored with many colors. Engine 4, the one that had been blown to pieces, was running again, but some of the components didn't look like they were real. They looked like they were out of some sort of animation still. Cartoon pictures, the engine pumping, little toot of a horn, and then he felt another surge. He looked to his starboard. Number 1 engine beginning to glow. Number 2 reactivating its destroyed functions. The entire engine being blown apart, being magically pulled together by some force. And then, if not to be anything other than the magic and mystery, as if a flame had been born, as if a miracle had been taking place. Patches upon the plane beginning to appear, these cartoony, like almost as if someone took a needle and thread and sewed a patch on a dress. Bits and pieces of the plane that had been blown away were being replaced with these little cartoon pictures. The one destroyed limb on the plane seemed to suck itself back up into the wing, and what came out, this would definitely get a bit of a Fink's attention, a long, slender leg that ended in a giant roller skate. Fishnet stockings included. And they began to fly towards the airfield. More and more, the friend in the belly gun was still furiously scribbling, outlining the same picture again. More and more, he continued to say, "She will make it home. She will fly. She will be all right." And his hands were tracing this picture so much that his own blood was dripping on it. And the picture of the Miss Mabel's face, the one he had drawn and traced over and over again, it went from a sad scream to a face as if she was gritting her teeth. Her eyes took the expression as if someone who was struggling against the weight of the world to move forward. It was as if Miss Mabel had said, "No, not today. You will not take my boys from me. I will fly. I will fly high, and I will bring them home. Back at the airfield, wave after wave of the planes landed. Each one counted. The spotter up on one of the high towers, looking for each plane as they were flying in from the horizon. Out of the 20 to 30 planes that had left, only 12 had made it back so far. And when the base commander asked if Miss Mabel was among one of them, the manager of the deck simply just said no. And they heard something from one of the high towers. Plane inbound, low and slow. Is it one of ours? Yes, but its colors don't look right. It's off. What do you mean it's off? I don't know, it just looks off. I've never seen a plane glow at this time of day. Back in Miss Mabel, the little cartoon gauges on the dash began to bounce around and do all types of silly stuff. Little Tweety birds would pop out, go, shit o'clock, get ready to land, and pop back into the controls. As if, once again, Miss Mabel took a big breath in and surged forward, all 4 of her engines roaring higher and stronger than they ever had. The little needles of speed going from fast, oh shit, damn, and she flew faster and higher, getting right into the optimal spot to land. And she came in low, slow, bounced once, bounced twice, coming in, and as if to do a bit of a little silliness, the whole plane seemed to turn sideways and just kind of a cartoonish way of saying, I'm back, bitches! And it just rocked side to side. The one good landing gear looking normal. The other, a fishnet stocking foot in a rollerblade. Miss Mabel's body covered in little shiny patches of cartoon fabric. Her 4 engines, the 2 ones that still remained whole, and the others that had been seen to magically be remade, but with cartoon parts. The crew quickly got out of the plane and ran to where the bubble was, trying to find some way of releasing the emergency hatch so they could pull their friend out. More and more they fought and struggled to pull him free. More and more they banged against the glass of the bubble to pull him out. And so, one by one, each of the men managed to break the frame of the bubble and pull it down, grabbing him, still fiercely scribbling away at the picture, until they pulled him free and dragged him away. Slowly, as they was trying to call his name, to wake up, my friend. Wake up, it is time, what is going on? Well, finally one of them walked over and slapped him across the face. The belly gunner took a deep breath, blinked fiercely, then looked up. Concentration no longer on the picture. And as this happened, all the little pieces of cartoon that was on the plane beginning to fade. The patches disappeared, revealing bullet holes. The gauges in the cockpit slowly turning back to original gauges. Her destroyed engines slowly fading back into the smoking wrecks they were. And the last piece to fall, to go, was that one leg holding her aloft. And when it finally disappeared, the plane itself sunk to the ground, crushing the remains of the bubble underneath her weight. Each of the crew stared at this miracle, didn't know what it was or how. And of course, like all things no one can understand or explain, they were told to be quiet, to not tell anyone about it, to let it go. And as for Miss Mabel, stories say that she was given a new crew, rebuilt, and sent back out. Others say she was repaired and sent home, somewhere to be identified and explained. And those still out there, her crew, those who had been told and sworn to secrecy, those who had been warned that if you speak, you will be in trouble. And so, each and every one of them soon went home. The two captains leaving the air service forever. The remainder of the crew, oh, I have been sitting for too long, returning back to their normal lives. The little belly gunner, the one who had seen the impossible. He was interrogated and questioned what could have happened. And so, each and every one of them simply just said, "We don't know. Miss Mabel could have came to life just for that moment to keep her boys safe." Some say that someone's belief that the impossible could happen made the impossible happen. And I'd like to believe that. And as for your question, if this story is real or a work of fiction, I cannot tell you. I hope it is real. I hope it is not just a facsimile of something that was made to entertain. Because sometimes the best stories are born of the impossible, of the impractical, of the unknown. And with that, the story of Miss Mabel is over. And if you would excuse me for a moment, I'm going to try to find my canteen so I can get something to drink and grab me another lozenge because my throat hurts. Where, oh, where did I put my canteen? Where, oh, where could it be? If I stub my toe on it, I'm going to be mad. Where, oh, where is my canteen? Oh, there it is. I found you. Yay, canteen! Dun 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 dun. Ah, shaky, shaky, shaky. Shaky, shaky, shaky. Open and close those windows again. Why does this one keep acting up? I don't know. I swear this one over here window doesn't like me much. But as long as the stream continues, long as everything else is. And it looks like Miss Rouge in the background is currently choking on something. I was seeing if you were paying attention. All right. Let us see who's in the audience, let us see who is there. For any of you there who are new to the channel, welcome. I am Exelios. I am the humble storyteller, and I welcome you to CampFire Tails. Perhaps in the future, when I get a little better at this, and maybe with my friends at Quickie Tin Productions could teach me how a little bit of a fiery wisp of the name to appear and disappear at will. But I'm still learning, and I'm still getting better. I was able to at least hopefully get a few of these alerts to work if someone follows or does anything like that. I hope it worked. If it does, yay. If it doesn't, oh well. But I will admit much this. As if tomorrow is Thanksgiving, I do know another thing I'm thankful for. My friends at Quickie Tin Productions, who finally goaded me into getting off my armored butt. Having a friend help me build this. My friend Inuasha 86,000, who helped me set this up, helped me get my OBS working, trying to get things right. My friends Rika and Fua showing me how to properly tweak and get this working. But I'm still much and far away from getting it 100%. I hope the quality is nice. I hope I don't look like a big armor-plated ass in the middle of the road. And I'm still trying to figure out how to get everything working correctly. I don't know. I'm still so very tired of trying to figure everything out. Wait, was that the right one? No, that was not the right one. I am so sorry. Oh well, I will figure this out eventually, I guess. When you try and try and try again, trying to figure stuff out, but yet you are never that clever. Alright. Continue on and get the things right. La-di-da-di-da-di-da-da-da-da-da. Quack. Alright. Let us see what we're going. Alright. With that ends of that one little tale. And, well, if I can figure out where the spigot on my canteen is, that would be good too. Oh. It spurted on me. I forgot I put cranberry mix in it. Damn, that was bitter. All right, I'm awake. Yowzer, that kicked me in the ass. Whoo. Oh, well, I still have much to work on that. All right, now, let us check the list for what is left. We're currently at 1 hour and 20 minutes, give or take. Now onto something fun and hopefully some of you out there remembered from the last time. A little bit of a story and a little bit of a whodunit. Alright, all of those who are listening, this tale will be one I will need your help with. This tale, you must be the detective. The one that finds the clues, tries to figure out who did it, and in the end, the one who is the detective that stops the crime. And apparently there's a fox flying through the air. Alrighty then. Now, let us see what type of silly whodunit thing could be. Ah, this one will be a good one. Somewhere in old Chicago, there is a kitchen, a restaurant, and a very nice place. It has been there for some time. Some say it was there during the Prohibition days, because it was used to be possibly a speakeasy. And of course, these rumors sometimes are true. Because if you know where to look on the back wall of the back area of the bar area, there is a picture, and if you push it just right, a door will open to the bottom. And down there is where the true fun happens. Now, here is the story. The people at the bar consist of 7 individuals. The bartender, who works at the primary bar, mixing drinks. He's been here for over 10 years. He's heard many stories and he's told many stories. He has worked hard and diligently to earn his tips. Bit of a wise ass and sometimes a storyteller too. Being a wise ass and storyteller kind of comes hand in hand. Next up is one of the servers. This young girl, eyes full of bright hopefulness, always walking around going ching chicka boom chicka boom chicka boom as she develops her drinks, not knowing that she's actually a student. A student of what? Wouldn't you like to know? But apparently, a student of criminology. She wishes to be those who help finish the stories of those who are cut short. She works with her other colleague, the other server, a young man who's brash and bold, likes to walk around with a bit of a swagger and a bit of a habla, making and showing of his force. Hair always slicked back. He always kind of this, "Hey, what you talking about?" voice. But, nonetheless, he works hard and does his best. The maitre d', or the owner of the place, depending on what is needed, he will man the front desks, help out clearing tables, and going down into the basement to retrieve extra stock. He's a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none. The 2 remaining ones are the lounge singer, an old feller with a silver voice and a cheap suit. He's been at this place for a very long time, and he's worked in many others just like this. And the last but least is the fellow no one really sees, but he always works hard, and that is the facilities maintenance and caretaker. If it is from frayed wires, to a broken bulb, to a malfunctioning jukebox, to something else, it does not matter. If it is busted, he fixes it. If it is out of tune, he tunes it. It doesn't matter whatever it is. He can fix it, he can build it, he can do what he needs. Oops, I think Rouge either DC'd or had to go. Oh well, if you got to go, Rouge, you got to go. Just don't squeeze the Charlemagne. All right. Now, let us begin. We've already got a cast for this tale. Now let's get on to whodunit. As the doors opened about 11 o'clock in the morning, most of the staff had already arrived and were waiting outside for the owner. He walked up all tired with a cup of coffee in his hand, opened the front door, turned on the lights, and froze. On the far wall, the door was open. The way to the pit down below was now accessible. He knew that door had been shut, and not too many people knew about it. All the people that worked here were right behind him. So who, I ask you, who was the one who gained access to it? All right, Rouge. I'm sorry your VRC crashed. I hope you have a pleasant night. If you're going to continue listening and waiting to the end of the stream, I do thank you for sticking around. If you got to lurk, that's fine too. Lurkers are a streamer's best friend. Next to comedy and schadenfreuds. If you don't believe me, there's a crater over there with my ass. So, but once again, I thank you for coming. I thank you for being here. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And do be silly tomorrow. Enjoy your time with your family and be wondrous. Now, back to the story. And I swear to God, if I crash again, I'm going to be so mad. Last time that happened, I ended up with a clip of me going, ah, fuck. All right. The back door was open. The back access way to the secret area is open. He walked over, looking around. All of his employees looking and trying to figure out what was going on. They knew this place, and occasionally they've been down here, but it was only opened on special occasions. And as they walked down the stairs to the lower part of the hidden speakeasy, on the far wall, a small but simple stage that had been built. An old stand-up piano still sit next to it. A small bar that had been there since the Prohibition days. Its contents of a very few rare bottles. Some, let us say, some come from the days that if you drank this, you might go blind. Those were only there for show. But the piece de resistance was on the far wall. An old iron safe. It had been there since the place had been discovered. And they were surprised. Most of these, when they were found, had been ransacked and destroyed. Its contents scattered, or pieces stolen and sold off over the years. Not this one. It had looked like it had been sealed up one day and forgotten about. The music gone, but still remembered. The scent of cigarettes and cheap booze still in the air. And occasionally a swoon of a singer singing her sultry voice to those who were just trying to drown their woes. Now, as for the old iron safe, they walked up to it, its old door standing ajar. And inside, a still lit cigarette butt and a handwritten note. On a small handwritten note simply says, "Came back for what was mine, and now I'm gone." Well, who could have done this? Who could have been the culprit? Let us see. Any questions about our perpetrators? Any questions about our cast and members? Could it have been the bartender, the maitre d', the two servers, the old-time singer, the man who repaired everything and kept it going, or one of those? Let us see and ask. So, as we ponder, as we brood, as we think as one, I ask you, what can we eliminate to find the truth? Well, we know that the cigarette was still lit and burning. Cigarettes these days burn out pretty quickly because of chemicals in them. This one had to come from somewhere or someone who knew the old ways of rolling it by hand. But who? Could it have been the singer? But wait. If a singer smokes, he won't have the breath to sing. We may have to set that one as a possible. What about the two servers? That big joker that walks around and acts like he don't have anything on him. Could it have been him? He could probably know how to hand roll an old-fashioned cigarette. His accomplice. She's trying to go to school for criminology. Would she put that at risk? But then again, school is expensive. Trust me, I know. Oy vey. Even though after I managed to pull it off the impossible, I managed to go to school, work full time, and then when I got out, I had no student debt. Bite me. Now, could have been the owner. Nothing says he couldn't have done it on a bit of an inside job. He did have keys after all. But then again, speakeasies like this one always has a hidden way of hiding everything and a way out. Or, more importantly, a way the old-timers would sneak in the booze and nary be seen. Could be, possibly, maybe. You'll never know. Now, could have been the bartender. He knew about the Lowood bar. He'd been here a while. He'd heard all types of stories. What about the maintenance man? The caretaker? He'd been all over this place, fixed many of its broken things. Heck, he probably maintenance and serviced that hidden door constantly. He probably knew how to get over to that safe, to crack it and open it, from his years of experience. Who could it be? Who indeed? Could it be some of our 7 cast? Could it have been someone else? Now riddle me this. What else aren't we thinking of? What else could it be? Rouge, if you're still there, do you have any guesses? And Amber, do you have any ideas who it could be? Just remember to type it out. That way I'll be able to read it. So, who could it be? And if Sibylla's still around and listening, who could be the culprit for this tale? I love bringing these little whodunits into story time. They force your mind to think. It allows you to be a detective. Because not all stories can be scary or fun, but the best ones that grab you and pull you in. Now, who could have been the culprit to this crime? Who could be the one that did all of this? Who broke into the safe? Who stole what was in there? Remember, all of the employees were outside waiting for the doors to open. Does anyone have any guesses? Does anyone have any ideas who? So, please tell me now in the comments if you can guess before I reveal who. You may be surprised. You may be a little bit shocked. But who had the bartender pegged? Do you know why? He didn't just work the upper bar, but he worked the lower. And the bartenders, they're the ones who hear stories from everybody, including an old singer who was nursing a whiskey one night. How he always would tell places like this, you couldn't just bring in new liquor and drinks from the street. No, you had a King's Road, a special hidden access that only a few knew, but you could always tell because they would always, almost, be located near a wooden marker or pillar with a certain emblem on it. If you don't believe me, up in Chicago, there is still a few old speakeasy bars alive and well. While now Prohibition is over, their restoration and continuation helps keep the stories of that time alive. They help keep the stories of those days still here with us. And one of them, believe it or not, was once owned by Capone himself. That one bar itself had an access to a hidden sewer line, a little tunnel that ran all the way under the city, out to the docks, where it would be filled up with booze on a boat and sailed right up to where the bar would pick it up, bring it into the shop, and be ready. Now, believe it or not, yes, it was the bartender. Because he knew if he got the old-timer talking, he would tell tales. He would spin wives' tales, tales of his youth, but also the information he needed. Yes, the guilty party was the bartender. For what reason, who knows? But for taking what was his, maybe that is for a tale of another day, and another tale of whodunit. So, with all those out there watching, and all those listening, I hope you're enjoying yourself, and I hope you're taking your time too. Now, apparently a few of my windows are malfunctioning and being little bitches. I really wish they would stop it, because it's a pain in my butt. keep having to refresh them. Like, hey, wake up. Slap, slap, slap. Hey, wake up. All right. With the whodunit done, and it being an hour and 40 minutes, I really do like those whodunits. They make you think. They make you ponder. They make you think of what could possibly be. But most importantly, it's for you, the audience. But I am still just a storyteller, and I can only tell you which way the story can go. It is you. You are the one who helps me write the story's ending. I love bartending. It is connected to storytelling, listening roles, and story keeps. Yes, it is. Because in the olden days, a barkeeper or tavern keeper, they would be someone's best friend, the keeper of their secrets, a giver of wisdom. Nowadays, we still have those, but they come as the shape of those at cafes. Which cafe? I cannot tell you. But it is an out-of-this-world one.
And that's another sausage in my mouth.
All right. Let us see if anyone out there is still there. All right. With this whodunit done and all the silliness around, let us check up on how many stories I've got left. Well, I have but one more to tell. And then, as the night grows old, just like my old frickin' armored butt, and just like how my voice is currently dying, hydration, need water. Hoy. I will say this much. Trying to keep your voice alive, trying to keep everything else going. Woof. Trying to manage 2 different windows while keeping everything else going. Not so bad. Cool thing of the night is, I don't dare jinx it, I have yet to have a bot. But if the bot appears, guess what that means? Time to kill the clinker. All right. Okay. The last story of the night is not one of great tales, of amazing feats, or me falling from another high spot to this sound. It is something of fun, of silliness, of joy, of something to hopefully make you laugh and smile and, I hope, with a little bit, brings a smile to your face, or a palm to your, or a hand to going smack to your face and going, someone give me a frying pan, that tinky boy's getting a bonk. Sorry, good luck. I have 2 little friends, Bonk and Donk, and they're over there playing in the donuts. Scratch that, one of them's got a plasma torch. Put that down! All right, okay. So, this last tale is nothing special or fancy. It is simply called a silly tale. Why is it a silly tale? Well, I'll give you a hint. Because it's fucking silly. Ta-da! All right. A silly tale, a silly laugh, and a silly little tale for the last of the laugh. You didn't think I could rhyme? All right. Here goes nothing, and something else. Upon the night sky at a long time ago, in a valley all the way out there who never know, here was a story of a little boy at night who would stare up at the stars, wondering what they could be and what was starlight. He would always ponder which way would go, how would the stars shine if they were to flow. But he didn't understand, but he tried to grasp, figuring out which way before his dad told him to go to sleep and he got whooped on the ass. But remember, with knowledge comes wisdom, wisdom becomes surety, and I cannot find a word that rhymes with insecurity. But here we come at the end of a silly tale, but more to come from here at CampFire Tails. Ah, you didn't think it was going to be a long one. It is short, did you? That is why it is called a silly tale. It doesn't take that long. And currently, I have no fucking tail. Mostly because I had to shove it into my armor to get into this thing. Yes, there is something under the armor. And until that day is ready and we seen, or till I figure out how to take my helmet off, you will all have to wait and wonder, what is under this? There are few of my friends that know. Few of those I trust. Few of those who are in my second heart, like I talked about last stream. The one that cannot be hurt, the one that cannot be harmed. The one that my friends I hold dearest live in. So, with that coming out to the end, let us finish up with a little bit of an outro and the final words. And with me sitting down because both my knees hurt. Ooh. Oh. Tanky boy making funny sounds. I swear if I make a sound like a whale one day, I'm going to have to call Cass up and have her come over and kick my ass. Oh. Oh. Well. All right. Time for the final words of the night. Time for the bit of my last thoughts. Tomorrow, once again, is a place and time called Thanksgiving. It used to be a time for those of us to be thankful for what we had. To be thankful for who we were with. For our friends and family that were near us. For even if we did not have much, we were thankful for them to be with us. Now, I do not know where you all in the universe and the world. And I do hope I am able to go to what I want to tomorrow. But if the weather is too foul, I will not be able to. Which would really bum me a bummer. I got up very early this morning, making a bunch of treats and fun things. I just wish I had a little bit more money to work with. I would have made some shrimp tempura and took it with me up there. Or had everything ready. Yes, if there's a sharky out there, I would have made shrimpies. So, as we are all watching and listening tonight, be thankful for what you have today. Be thankful that if you have a roof over your head, a meal in your belly, a soft bed to lay your head, someone in your life, being family or friends, who appreciate you for being you. don't think you are all without being what you have. You could be like a salamander like me. I would be if without my friends, without those at Cookie Tin Studios. Sorry, Cookie Tin Productions. I would be wandering the night sky, sailing alone. But I am not alone. They are with me. Tas, Ujabu, Inuyasha, and Kara Cake. They are wonderful little beans, and if you have a chance, give them a look. You can find probably Kara streaming late at night sometimes. I know of a certain bunny who is getting ready to make a return, and I am waiting to see that day. As for the Burby, I'm pretty sure if I put my big steel boot in his butt hard enough, he might come back to streaming. Although he is going through some hard times. And, most importantly, if a certain Sharky decides to stream again, I'm sure she'll have a blast. Although, all I ask, if she ends up in your homeworld, make sure she doesn't pull out the missiles, the lasers, the rockets, and the nuke. I still can't believe she dang near kicked me out of my own homeworld. That would have been embarrassing. It's like, guess what? One tanky boy airborne and thrown into the wind. What was worse if it would kick me off my own ship, the prankmaster, and throw me out to the back, dangling on the rope, saying, "Hey, hey, you're now an anchor." All right. For the night's time, and for my voice to reach all of you one last time, I'm thankful for all of you out there. My friends, my family, those who tune in to hear my currently very stuffy nose. Why is this mask always on the sinuses? I now know how Landon feels. Hoy vey. But the funny thing is, very soon something amazing will happen. And I'm ticking down the clock. And I would be very surprised if I do open my eyes one day and check and finding out something wondrous has happened. I'll still need to work hard and get better at it. I still need to make sure that this little picture here gets better. Making my stream better for all of you. Making sure my stories are better. They feel with more oomph. And they carry you further. And most importantly, one thing I would like most of all, once again, like I said with my friends at Cookie Tin Productions, to us to all sit down once again, to laugh, to chuckle, to stream. But now, it won't just be Ujabo and Inu. I'll be able to hopefully join again with them, and I will have so much fun. Because, what is chaotic of two streamers going at it? You've got three. And it is always funny when you have that type of chaos mixed in. And I highly doubt none of us will know what is going to happen next because, let's face it, we are one example away from probably having a raccoon appear and say, "Hey, who wants a beer and to see something naked?" All right, my friends. Let us see if there's anyone out there I know that is currently still streaming. Let us see if there is a good bean I can take you to. Of all those who I watch and all of those who I see but only one name still lit in the stars tonight. Of a very good bean. She is among the fuzzy ones, like many of my friends. And she is a mischievous and happy little one. And I know for a fact, I have a feeling she would love to meet you too. Excuse me while I try to write this out. I hope I got it right. All right. As we're getting to read out, if you happen to need a message, something to cheer and to say, please copy this message. So, if you can copy that little message and be ready to go, we'll be raiding out shortly. So, if you'd be so kind, copy that. Well, if I could actually use my mouse. All right. I will see you again, another story, for another time. And so, my friends, good night. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and know this much. I will always be watching, and the stories will be waiting you.